Welcome to the Lucius Learn podcast, where we dive deep into the mysteries of the universe and our place in it. I'm your host, Lucius Learn, and today we are going to continue on this journey of the Mother Goddess and how this is a very important information to relearn about within our human evolution, because part of this knowledge is going to play a major role in our human evolution, because within our physical human evolution, there is something that had taken place that also helped evolve us, but it began with the female body. So we are definitely going to continue this information. And before we begin, I definitely want to say happy Mother's Day to all you beautiful mothers around the world. We do have Mother's Day that's coming up this weekend. Shout out to all you beautiful women, to all you beautiful mothers. Happy Mother's Day. I really hope you have a great weekend, and hopefully this information will also just bring more light and encouragement to you playing a major role in not only human history, but also our human evolution. Shout out to all the mothers worldwide. Okay. Also, too, if you are watching this on YouTube, definitely don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, like and comment as well. That also helps with the algorithms on the platforms. Yeah, if you are enjoying the content, please definitely subscribe. More content and hit the like button. And also, too, if you are listening to this podcast or on any other streaming platform, please follow and also hit that 5-star rating. If you feel like, hey, this guy is really giving me some gems, please definitely hit that and share with friends and family, which I always encourage that at the end of the show to also share a comment. So look, I also say it in the beginning. And also, too, I want to say thank you for everyone that's taken the time to even just listen to this podcast, because I've really been working hard on just making sure I'm bringing you guys a whole lot of content and stuff. And I got some announcements to make over the summertime. That's really going to be big. I got some books that I'm going to be dropping over the summer, some cool little mini books. And yeah, I just got some real cool things in the works that I will be sharing with you guys. That's why I encourage you to subscribe. And then also, too, if you go and visit my website at hotrs13.org, join the mailing list. I've been having a lot of people join the mailing list this past week. Shout out to all you guys that's been subscribing to the mailing list. I'm going to be doing a lot of email blasting coming up very soon with like events and, notifications of podcasts and just all kind of cool stuff. So definitely sign up for that mailing list. Okay, let's go ahead and pick back up. Let me get into my book. For those of you that may be just tuning in, the past few episodes, we've been talking about the importance of relearning about the Mother Goddess, because the feminine principle is something that is majorly missing in our society. And you can definitely tell with the state of the world. And even when you just look at other countries it just looks really bad in certain areas. And when as far as from my perspective, when I see like different places and countries that don't uplift the women there, that country is not doing well and stuff. And we are obsessed with this father sky dad and everything. And it's really weird to me. This is why we're having a lot of exposure with a lot of these powerful male influencers, whether they be in celebrities or politicians and stuff. And a lot of these guys are really getting exposed, and if they don't really change their ways, then the fall is going to be very hard for them. And I hate to see the males fall, but if that's what it takes for males to reshape themselves and for a newer masculinity to present itself, then so be it. because we need to fully shift. And if we're not going to shift with the divine feminine, then we are missing the whole point of this whole experience. That is definitely very important to pay attention to. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to pick off where we left off at. So just going to grab some water real quick and then we'll get to checking out this information. All right. So the human female's menstrual cycle was the critical evolution advance that initiated human society and culture. The fact that the human female is freed from the estrous cycle of other primates means that in women's sexuality, it is distinguishable from separable form fertility in women alone among all creatures on earth. This shifting of sexual hormonal action led to the increased alertness of the brain and its electrical activity. Women have sexual energy at their disposal, separable from reproductive energy. That's very interesting, especially coming from a man that I had mentioned in my last episode that was proclaiming that, sex was only meant for procreation. So it looks like nature and science is telling us something differently. There's that aspect. And keep in mind, so when we go into the Bible and we talk about the whole thing with Eve and her so-called punishment of having the ability to reproduce, that was a huge thing. And that was the sin in the garden, was the fact that Eve became awakened within her own sexuality. And keep in mind, that's the biblical aspect that you can read into. But when you go back into the origin of where the Bible actually has gotten that from, we come to find out that the one thing that Enlil did not want humans to have was the ability to reproduce. And it was dependent not on the male, it was dependent on the female, which is why this harsh punishment or whatever for the female in the Bible ended up happening. But when you go into the Sumerian tablets, it was not this whole harsh punishment thing that we read about. It was more of a thing that Enlil and Enki had a disagreement on. Was Enki wanted to be able to let these particular human know that, hey, you guys are able to reproduce just like us. That was a very special thing to happen. And keep in mind of this too, I'm going to say this real quick, is there's a lot of misinformation in regards to people saying that the Anunnaki created us to be slaves. The Adamu and the Eves who were in the Garden of the Gods, these were separate humans compared to the humans that were digging for gold or whatever the stuff, basically helping create this basically the civilization. And with them, the difference is, for those that have eyes to see, is that these particular humans that were in the garden with the gods and goddesses, was that they had a soul essence that were entered into their bodies, which made this particular group and where modern day humans actually stem from, compared to the soulless group that were mining. So you can almost say that they were almost like organic robots, where they were made from a natural material, but they were soulless. But I can get into that a whole nother episode. So I just wanted to just say that, because within this information that we're going to be talking about, we're going to speak on how this evolutionary state has happened within us. And that evolutionary state didn't come from us naturally evolving. We had help of that evolution. And there's proof within that due to our DNA and why we have that non-coding DNA and stuff. All right. So let's get back into this. Women have sexual energy at their disposal, separable from reproductive energy. For women, biology is not destiny in the narrow reproductive sense. Even if patriarchy has tried through the dogmatic suppression of their auto autonomous sexuality to reverse this evolution. Patriarchal religion is, in this sense, a primate religion, trying to pull the human female back from her uh, evolutionary advance over other primates. For in this one aspect alone does human sexuality differ from primate sexuality. And it is for the subliminal reason that all hardcore patriarchal fundamentalists oppose the evolutionary theory. What is it called? It's not vasectomy. This is called, it's Vehemently. Vehementally? Something along those lines. Because the Godhead of human evolution, its trigger, its energy source is and only can be female. I'm going to read that again. Because the Godhead of human evolution, its trigger, its energy source is and only can be female, aka feminine energy. Feminine energy has to be the primordial source. It has to be the source of all. Okay, because there is no life, there is no creation without the feminine energy. And there's so much proof of that, because if this masculine energy is supposed to be the most predominant, then what the hell is going on down here on Earth? Get what I'm saying? Because I guarantee you, if Earth and the people that have inhabited Earth were on one accord in regards to having acceptance and harmony, and also on all over the planet uplifting women, you would not think you was in a lower dimension. I promise you, you would not think that. You wouldn't think that at all. The sole function of the clitoris is sexual pleasure, and it is the only organ in the human body devoted to pleasure alone. The penis is carrying both reproductive semen and sexual response in every erotic act. This means that women's sexuality capacity is enormously enhanced and multiple, and it is present in us from birth to so-called death, where death is really just transition. Clitoral sensation being determined neither by puberty or menopause. When freed, women's sexual capacity is a great source of psychic, productive, creative, and magical powers. It was at the origins of human culture, and it is necessary to any further human evolution advance. That's what I'm talking about. When the Anunnaki came and gave us this evolutionary jump by incorporating their DNA, what started out creating humans was having a female Anunnaki. Now keep this in mind. Now you had these male gods per se that were, especially this one particular one, which was Inky, and the simple fact that he actually needed the feminine source to help him with this creation process just goes to show that there's no way that he could have made modern day humans the way that we are without one of the female Anunnaki goddesses. It just wouldn't have happened. Okay, so we needed that help from them, because keep in mind, like, these particular female Anunnaki, they gave birth to us. And so that's why it's important to read like the Sumerian tablets, because then you'll start to understand that it took these particular females to give birth to us so that we could have their likeness and essence. Okay. And to be able to have the same capability as them when it came to not only just reproduction, but also the pleasure aspect. So think about that for a minute. Human life and evolution are explained in many ways. We are indeed producers and tool makers, as the Marxists and the anthropologists say, and creators of symbolic culture. But we were not human until the appearance of the menstrual cycle. And this is what I'm talking about. When the Anunnaki came down, And there was this female being, and predominantly all female beings here on this planet, that in order to jumpstart that evolution, the Anunnaki females, they already had this menstrual cycle. And so that's why it's so significant of us having that DNA, because the appearance of the menstrual cycle happened when their DNA got incorporated with this other female being that was already here. So that's why the whole human race is truly a hybrid. And this is why you have to hide this kind of information and distort it, because if you do, then there just wouldn't be any religion, honestly. Just wouldn't be no male dominant religion. It came the possibility of all evolutionary developments that are specifically human. Extraction of mental energy from reproduction and survival, social bonding through human emotion, symbolism. Symbols are mental children, recognition and valuing of the individual as a being with rights to pleasure and subjective exploration, social organization, and sexual affection, leading to the development of cultural and economic cooperation for the purpose of enhancing rather than just maintaining human experience. Otherwise, why evolve? Women have got to understand the importance of the switch from primate to human menstrual cycle. And that's what I was just explaining just a few paragraphs above. The primate, which was the female being who was evolving naturally on the planet. And then we had the intervention with the Anunnaki, which gave us the human menstrual cycle. Okay. Because this was the mechanism of female evolution. It is also the target of patriarchy. Female sexuality and female evolution have been for 2 or 3 millennia, at least, in a lethal deadlock with patriarchal ideology, religious, economic, and political. This is because patriarchy as a system wants to enforce and maintain male primate power dominance control over our species. The rise of patriarchy was an evolutionary step backwards in this sense. The only thing blocking or neutralizing this patriarchal primate urge towards dominance control over the human species is the more advanced capacity for human creative communal process via social sexual bonding evolved by women of our species. We are still trying to evolve from the primate to the fully human. And in this long attempt, female sexuality represents an advance, while patriarchal control over female sexual process represents regression. And of course it does. This is why having this attack with women here in the United States, when it comes to these abortion laws, that obviously they can just make up laws. Just the simple fact that if you can just make up a law to ban a social media platform, then I don't take these laws very seriously. And I know that y'all can just sit up here and play around with this stuff due to wanting to control either information or control our bodies. Okay. And really enough is enough with you clowns on that. All right, where did I leave off at? This is why all patriarchal religions try to define menstrual and childbirth blood, the source of life, as a filth and shame and a crime, because it represents the creative power of the evolutionary female. Wow. Think about that for a minute. She who, as Judy Garland said, she who with her blood created the human world. Once again, she who with her blood created the human world. And that's true, because when you go into the Sumerian tablets and you read about Adam, the Adamu, and Adam was birthed from this female Anunnaki goddess. She said, I have created him with my hands. Okay. You can't make this up. And science is proven a lot of the ancient Sumerian tablets. Yeah. Got to keep that in mind. And we got to have respect for that for sure. Okay. Sorry, I'll be losing my place sometime trying to. Okay. Patriarchal societies are founded upon a crime. This crime is not the murder of the father, as feud would have us believe. It is the rape and scorn of the mother. This is the unconscious horror from each girl child inherits. And unlike male castration anxiety, rape anxiety is all too often reinforced by the daily reality of the act and threat of rape. Men's so-called fear of castration is simply a fear of losing command over women in patriarchal society, which equates to domination over women with manhood. That's very interesting. She said that, but I have to agree. We don't really think about that. And then and that it really goes back to the mindset of abortion, telling women what to do with their bodies, because rape is a thing. And not to mention, who else really shows like how things are really passed down from the matriarchal lineage? Just go watch Dune. You guys need to go watch Dune Part 1 and Part 2, and you will see what I'm talking about. Because in Dune Part 2, there's a part where, what are they called? The Bene Jesuits, I believe is their name in there and stuff. And they're like this priestesshood that knows how to receive information that gets passed down through this matriarchal like lineage and stuff. Yeah, I don't want to say like too much about it, especially if you haven't seen the movie, but go check it out, because this is something that does get passed down through our DNA. We don't take the time to think about the trauma that the human body has been through over a millennia and stuff. And so that does carry out within our DNA code. And there's been a lot of science that has really truly proven that our DNA carries a lot of memory, which is a lot of it is traumatic. If Western males have any legitimate fear of castration, it derives from the act of circumcision, which is a terrible thing to inflict on a male infant. But this custom comes from the Father God of the Bible. It doesn't come from women or any great mother religion. Living constantly under the steel roof patriarchy's criminal misogamy, women are forced to bend to and accept on pain of oh my goodness, why can't I pronounce this word? Reverberating punishment and terror, men's paranoid projections. Women, as long as they fear punishment for their powers, and as long as they are economically dependent on men, must accept that their bodies are unclean and deficient. Under patriarchy, the mother is feared and hated quite crazily, both for her power and her weakness. That is wild. That's a wild thing that she said. And you can really see that in our society. Everything a man cannot courageously accept about himself is projected onto his mother or his wife, or onto any random woman walking down the street. Facts. Until yesterday, women were policed by the professionals, also the psychiatrists, who acted as cultural reinforcers of the rule of femininity, who blamed their ills like menstrual depression and pain on their failure to be feminine. How many men have grown rich being in the business of telling women what they are supposed to be? Oh my goodness. Okay, we just got done talking about that with these laws and stuff. And you know what makes it really wild too is that there's also women within the political arena, and it's, you guys think standing up for yourselves? Weak. That's weak stuff to me. Like, why are you not standing up against these freaking bozos, clowns? Really some clown shit. Obviously, patriarchy wants them to be something that is not natural for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't become crazy and sick trying to achieve it. Once a month, witches were given drugs and electroshock treatment by the modern members of the Pathic professions. Now, thanks to women standing up for the truth and more women doctors, menstrual depression and pain, including the premenstrual syndrome, are being seriously studied and treated with intelligence and concern, not the traditional contempt. But we cannot forget how many women were thrown into psychiatric wards by husbands and physicians because our cultural menstrual taboos rendered everyone stupid about basic life functions. That's crazy. And you know what else is crazy about basic life functions for women is that all menstrual paths, one, should be organic, two, should be ran by women, not men. Men should not be creating anything that's supposed to be being stuck up a woman's yoni. Like putting chemicals and stuff, stupid. That's dumb. Should not be doing that. So we need to let women have a lot more control over what it is that they truly need and not have this male dominance trying to control. Like, oh no, we should be the ones manufacturing tampons and all this kind of stuff. No, you idiot, sit down. Sit that ass down somewhere. Worry about yourself. Because obviously you ain't an enlightened male that's really thinking about how it's really tampering with the body. Think about all the chemicals women are exposed to between hair products, makeup, all this kind of stuff. So y'all ain't about shit, really. Women must understand that the object of taboo is also object of strong desire. Menstrual blood is a powerful sexual element, and ancient men responded to women's rhythms. But to unyielding patriarchal man whose entire self-concept depends on the fact that he is not a woman, any primal response to women's blood and rhythms is frightening. He fears to lose control. He fears loss of his ego. He fears empathizing with a woman. He fears melting into the other in the sexual act. He has a lot of fears, and that's true. Men do have a lot of fears towards women. They really do. And it's something that you can actually see with even little boys and just young men, because these older guys, we ain't out here educating these young boys about anything and stuff. And it's really sad because who can these kids look up to? You understand what I mean? Like the stuff that I've seen and heard, it's really ridiculous. And so the heterosexual act inevitably becomes a reaction to fear. It becomes violation and rape. To repress his fears, he takes on military terminology. He sees himself invading the woman's body. She becomes his sexual victim, his prisoner of war, simply because she had sex with him, engaged in battle, allowed herself to be invaded. He must treat her with contempt as he would treat any loser. That's crazy. That's a crazy mindset to have, a mentality to have. You men in patriarchy are perceptive enough to realize that they have themselves lost a great deal, including the pleasures of sex. What about that, Andrew Tate? Let me read that part again. But men in patriarchy are perceptive enough to realize that they have themselves lost a great deal, including the pleasures of sex, not the reproduction, you idiot. The pleasures of it. I got a lot of smoke for you, Andrew Tate. Best believe that. I got a lot of smoke for you. And some of you other men out here. Men have mutilated their own sexuality along with trying to mutilate women's. Ejaculation is not necessarily the same as orgasm. And that's true. That's what a lot of you 1 minute men don't understand, yo. You need to learn how to do breathing techniques and exercises, because that's the problem with, like, men think that our whole sole purpose is just to bust a nut. That's silly. It can go beyond that. But if you don't take the time to study tantra and do energy work and stuff like that, you're not going to get none. All this stuff is going to go right over your freaking head. Okay. We need to be the advanced man, the advanced male. That's the evolutionary that we're heading to. I hope my men that are watching this, I hope y'all are with me with that, okay? Because that's what I'm about. That's what my whole movement is about, is being the advanced male. That's what we need to do. So let's do it, brothers, okay? Okay. Rich was trying to investigate the difference between a genital reflex and a total mind-body response. ancient Taoist and tantric teachings. I just got done saying that. Originating in Chinese and India, matriarchies taught men sexual techniques that suited women. Ancient women had strong genital pride and knowledge, and in no way conveyed feared or intimidation towards men. Women were the initiators of sexual knowledge. In the last podcast episode, I talked about how that sex is meant for multiple things, especially for us humans. Okay. It's not meant to just be a reproductive thing. This is why I said, like, people need to understand, stop having sex and then thinking that you could just go ahead and just bust a nut and then have all these freaking kids and then you're not going to even take care of these kids. Makes no sense. That's just stupid. That's just being a dumbass, honestly. Like, that's not what this is for. This is for knowledge. This is for pleasure. This helps with stress. There's so many things that it does. We need to become a lot wiser men when it comes to this. Okay. And stop listening to idiots like Andrew Tate and other men out here that's telling you otherwise. Okay. These are not good male role models at all. Okay. These are losers that are telling you this. And just because somebody has money doesn't mean that they ain't a loser. Keep that in mind. Women's collectives, no doubt, at the time of their menstrual flows, withdrew from the men to meditate, to practice lesbian love, to commune with the goddess in body prayer. For women, there is no separation between sex and spirit. That's what I'm talking about. There's no separation from that. We got to relearn that because, man, religion has fucked us all up with thinking that it has to be separate. You know what I mean? And it's such a mental thing that is even disrupting even the conscious community when it comes to this as well. A lot of people still hold on to a lot of religious beliefs because that's how fucked off religion has been to us in our own evolutionary state. But where's the balance at? We got to have balance, okay? We got to uplift everybody, okay? But in order to uplift everyone, everyone needs to re-educate themselves, period. It doesn't matter who you are. Don't matter how high up the bar you think you are, you still need to re-educate yourself. Patriarchy exists by demanding that sex and spirit be opposites and then repressing and punishing women for for contradicting such a fiat. Even in the menstrual huts, a custom enforced and twisted by patriarchy, women could still gather together to confirm their own identity, to sing and tell stories. At least they knew that their menstrual uncleanliness was a taboo. But in female cycles, Paula, I believe her last name is Wedger or Wage. It could be Wager too, depending on how you pronounce it. Makes it very clear that in the modern Western world, because there are no outward ritual signs of the menstrual taboo, it is even more insidious and harmful to women. Now, at her first menstruation, the young modern girl is abandoned by her culture. She is made to feel that her body and its rhythms are a biological impediment to freedom and fun. The subliminal messages she receives from her culture is that the properly functioning body is male and non-cycle. On the job, at school, also at work, is defined as male activity. If she wants to be equal at work, she must function like a male. All legal and cultural disputes about women being pregnant or nursing at work or nursing in public derive from the fact that all workplace and all public space in the West is defined in terms of non-cycle male bodies. Interesting. Women who cannot or will not accept the taboos are still punished as they've been punished for 2,000 years plus in the patriarchal world as lesbians, unmarried mothers, thinkers, artists, witches. Most of our American misogyny, especially ideas about menstrual uncleanness, comes from the Bible. For this reason alone, the Bible should be kept from public schools as a major source of the cultural defamation of women. It was so crazy. I came across something online that was talking about how they're trying to pass this law about the Bible, specifically the New Testament, because they're trying to say that it anti-cism or whatever. And so they're trying to ban the book. Yo, that book should be banned not because of that goofy shit. The book should be banned because of this shit right here. Because of what I'm reading about right now. That's why that whole book needs to be banned. And got nothing to do with a particular group of people that feel like they're the be-all of the world. No, you're not. You're just like the rest of us. There ain't nothing extra special about you. Okay? Nothing extra special about you. Okay? You can't just be claiming areas and then want to put some God behind it and think that it's your birthright. It ain't your birthright, son. It's not. Surely the First Amendment should protect young girls. You would think. That's what I'm saying. Is our First Amendment protecting us? Because how are you able to flip these laws like this, man? Come on, man. You guys are just making shit up as you go from being told God made them to be unclean and need a monthly purification. That's why the Old Testament needs to be banned, yo. You ever trying to ban the New Testament because you trying to say it's making Jews seem like they're trying to hate some fake ass. No, bro. No, you need to ban that whole damn book. Okay? Because all that unclean shit comes from the Old Testament. So that it's not just the New Testament. The whole book needs to go. And we need to re-educate ourselves as free thinkers and evolve humans, not still continuing to be ignorant and shit. It's weird to me, man. More study needs to be done also on the effects of birth control pill and IUDs on premenstrual symptoms and on cyclic experience in general. It has been assumed that women will tolerate any menstrual upheaval in exchange for effective conception. And in the short run, this might be true. We have yet to see the long-term effects of reproductive technology on women's whole being, body, mind, and soul. Guys, that was a lot. I'm telling you, just coming back and resurfacing this information, it's a lot. It's heavy, man. It really is. And I think that's why a lot of people don't want to talk about it, because it's heavy. It's a heavy thing to talk about and maybe even to bear, but we have to address things face on if we truly want to see true change in our world. We can't get the change that we truly want to see if we're not going to address the things that have been traumatic for us. We have to do that. If there's one thing that I've learned on my journey is you have to address it head on so that you can heal from it and so that we can evolve from it. That's it. And so that's what House of the Rising Sun is about. That's what my whole movement is about. And this should be the whole movement of humanity as a whole, period, is to evolve. But in order to do this, guys, we have to do healing. And healing doesn't just happen on some retreat weekend. This is a daily practice. This is a daily thing we need to do. So that's what we're going to be getting into here in 2024. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me on the Lucius Lyron podcast. If you find value in today's episode, please share it with friends and family. And don't forget to follow for more content like this. For more resources, you may check out our website at hotrs13.org. Once again, that is HOTRS13.org. Until next time, keep making those small changes and watch how they add up to a transformed life. Stay inspired and keep growing. Join me again next time for more discussions on life, astrology, love, science, the mother goddess, spirituality, with its connection to our daily lives, because we will be picking back up next week on this topic because, like I said, in the season of Taurus, we're going to be talking about the divine feminine. So I believe we got one more week of learning more about the divine feminine and the importance that she has been in regards to our human evolution. We got one more week or maybe 2 more weeks. I got to check and see, because I feel like around the 19th or 20th is when we switch to Gemini season. So we'll be getting into some other stuff. But until then, yeah, we're gonna be doing some relearning and some re-educating, because this is important for both male and females. And remember to always live in power.